heard you may have been method acting during the filming of Out of Order. Is this true? You were, quote, filled to the brim with shit?
I was.
Damn, man, you're committed to your craft.
I take my job very seriously.
Bat chat, chatting with MattTheBat. You chat, I chat, we chat, I'm fat, chatting with MattTheBat. Yeah!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of MattTheBat's Batshit Shit Show. I'm your host, MattTheBat, and if you didn't know that already, it's probably the perfect time for you to hit that like button, smash that sexy little subscribe button, and absolutely fucking destroy the little bell notification, ding, because these episodes drop weekly, and you're gonna want to be subscribed, so let's fucking go. Anyways, this is my series Bat Chats, where I interview unique people with unique perspectives, and today I have a very unique New York legend coming on the show. Try saying that 10 times. Try saying that 10 times fast. Jimmy. Oh. All right, relax. All right. We have a friend coming on the show. He's a legend. He stars in the new film Out of Order. He's got a cat that quite literally looks like my left nut, minus all the scraggly hairs. Wow, this is the worst intro ever. I'm so sorry. He's a very funny dude. Everybody, please welcome Kareem Rahma. Woo! Come on out, buddy. Don't be afraid. Woo!
Yo, what's going on, man?
That was a beautiful little headbang intro. That's a first for the show.
Yeah, put on some Andrew WK in the opening.
Oh, yeah, you know I will, man. Dude, I'm so happy to have you finally on the show. I'm a big fan of yours. I have been for a while. I feel like we've kind of developed this like internet friendship sort of, and we're finally meeting face to face.
Yo, it's just like the old days, you'd meet someone on the internet and they would say, don't be friends with that person because you shouldn't be friends with strangers on the internet. But guess what? This is 2022. We're going to be friends with whoever we want.
Yep.
And you are my friend. And I've been so impressed since the day that I stumbled upon you, my little creature friend, my little bat. And I was just like, man, this guy is real. I love him.
Shit.
Cute little guy.
Well, I'm honored to hear you say that because, someone like you who is a creative, who does all sorts of things, I would call you a jack of all trades, maybe, but I'm going to call you Kareem of all dreams. And there's two reasons why I'm going to call you that. You know why? Reason number one is it rhymes. Jack of all trades doesn't rhyme. And if the jack that was the jack of all trades was actually a jack of all trades, that motherfucker would know how to rhyme, and he would call himself Kareem of all dreams. So
that's true.
That's what I've developed. That's what I was kind of thinking. But number two is because I really do feel like you are like living out all of these creative dreams. It makes me really happy to see that you get to do so much and have so much on your plate, because I feel like with a lot of creatives, they kind of put themselves in a box, especially when we're talking about like viral culture and everything, and they stick to that one thing and they don't really get to explore their options. And I think that you've done a great job of really not letting that happen to you. So do you want to explain like all the stuff that you do?
Yeah. I mean, I think it all stems from me not wanting to be a slave to the algorithm. It's like the algorithm gods and lords want us to be one-dimensional people. Yeah. But the reality is we're not one-dimensional people. And so, I kind of just like decided that I don't care anymore. And it has its pros and its cons, right? Like, it's very difficult to describe who I am and what I do. So I've simplified it for now into just being a comedian and entrepreneur.
Okay.
But if we really want to like break out the subcategories, then we're looking at like comedian. It goes like producer, writer, actor, clown, sketch comedian, musician, and then entrepreneur. It's like, essentially, it's like my entrepreneuring is how I pay to be a comedian, because I'm definitely not getting paid to be a comedian.
Yeah, not yet anyway, but I mean, I think it's in the future, because you do have the talent of all these things to back up whatever your next thing is. And like, I know you've worked at corporations, you worked at Vice, right? And New York Times, and you're a CEO of your own network. Like, there's a lot of different things about you that kind of contribute to your overall creator economy, which I think is awesome. And you do it well. And like, as you said, you didn't want to get boxed into that, like the algorithm, that thing. And it's very easy for that to happen. But I just feel like you get the internet better than most. Like, do you agree with me on that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm an internet baby. Like, I remember my dad buying our first computer, and he was tight because we were definitely broke. And he like blew $3,000 or whatever to get this, like, I think it was a Hewlett Packard or a Compaq. Wow. But not only did he did he blow like the month's food budget. It's probably more than a month, but he also like built a room that he called the computer room. Like he knew that it was going to be really important, you know? And at first I was like, I don't know what the big deal is. But then, you know, it became my life in many ways. And originally I didn't create much. I just like enjoyed being on the internet. I enjoyed the social aspects of it all.
Yeah.
But I think that allowed me to like get the internet to be insider and to be like inside. It's essentially like any nerd who you know, is like has an advantage because they're a nerd, is like that's all that happened. I became a nerd and I was able to use my nerddom and understanding of the way that it works and understanding the jokes and being in on the joke to like work to my advantage in a way.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, you clearly demonstrate that. I've seen in another interview you did that you think like the viral formula is the perfect mix of art and science. And it's so true. I mean, clearly it's obviously so true because we see when, you know, we have like the starving artist trope where like, that's kind of how I'm doing my show is like, I'm just like doing it for the passion only. I'm not even like optimizing my shit because I just want to make stuff, you know, but then we have the other side of it where it's like,
Big butt kid.
Oh, yep, exactly. You're talking about the guy with the huge ass who walks around and people look at him? Like, exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah, so it's so cool that you've been able to kind of find that, the mix of the two. And I think we see that with a lot of the work you do and a lot of the things that happen to you. Like, for example, the New York Magazine situation. Do you want to explain what happened with that a little bit?
Yeah, I was Valentine's Day. I came home from going to a movie. I had noticed that my New York Magazine was there before I left. And I had this little thing where I was like, do I go all the way upstairs? Do I put the magazine in my pocket and take it to the movie, or do I just pick it up when I get back? Little did I know that when I came to pick it up, when I got back, it was no longer there. And I'm not a very kind of like aggressive guy. So I've never put up a sign. I've lived in New York for 10 years. I've never put up a sign. People put up signs. I have never put up a sign. I've never been a sign guy. But I did put up a sign this one time saying a very nice sign that was just like, hey, if you stole my magazine, please return it because I was looking forward to reading it. And then it turned into kind of like the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where I was locked in my apartment trying to figure out who stole the magazine.
Oh yeah, crime scene in there.
Yeah, and I just like essentially vlogged it in real time for probably 3 days, and the story blew out of proportion, and you know, the landlords were involved, and there were people hiding in my bushes, and you know, reporters calling.
Wait, people hiding in your bushes? Are you serious?
I was pacing back and forth, looking out the window with binoculars. Like, I saw that there were people watching, and
wow,
it was very scary. I was very paranoid at the time. And I was pacing back and forth in my apartment, listening to door cracks and squeaks, trying to figure out who it was, looking for little people. Ultimately, what ended up happening is that an old neighbor had come by to pick up their mail, and they swiped the magazine. And I don't know if they stole it still to this day. I don't know if the magazine was stolen or taken by accident, but that resolution of knowing where it went was enough for me to like let it go. I learned a valuable lesson, which is to just let things go.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good lesson to learn. And you have to use that lesson a lot in New York. You can't get too attached to anything because...
It's the only way.
Yeah, everything can be gone within a moment's notice.
It's the only way to live in New York. I talk about like, it's a city that like wants to beat you down. And you know what? You should let it.
You really should. It beat me down too much. That's why I had to move. I was a little beat down.
It happens, man. It happens. When you lived here, did you live in a cave or?
Yeah, bro. It was a cave. It was dark, smelly.
What part of town?
I was in Bushwick.
Oh, there's a lot of caves there.
But yeah, and then you have some other like viral stunts that I thought were really funny, like the hot dog dipped in the beer. Obviously, that was like a very viral clip, and you know, I've gotten to this point with you where I'm kind of not even fazed when I start seeing you being posted on all these fucking news outlets, because I'm like, damn, this guy is everywhere. Like, not only do all the people that I admire follow you, it's also like, oh, you're just literally everywhere on the internet for so many different things.
No, I think I got to pump the brakes. I don't want to oversaturate myself. Recently, I've been thinking I have to take a little break. And because here's the thing, I'm not trying to go viral. I really am not. Like I'm like a prankster. You know, I like prank, but not like the kind of pranks that I'm like going to kick someone over or like, you know, I'm not a Jackass kind of guy. I love Jackass and would love to be on the show. Johnny Knoxville, if you're listening, think about me.
Dude, if Johnny Knoxville listened to this show, that would make my entire life.
Yeah, I'll send it to him.
You know a guy who knows a guy?
Yeah, I always know a guy that knows a guy. It's funny because like it's just like having fun. That's all I'm doing, and I get lucky a lot. And I always talk about this, and I feel like I get lucky because I'm always in the right place at the right time. But I also talk about this, that in order to get lucky, you have to be in a place.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people are not willing to be in a place. So I don't like set out with the intention of being like, I'm going to go viral. Like I just like see something and I'm somewhere and something happens and then I show it. And then it just always kind of snowballs from there. But I think, yeah, like I also treat it like performance art in a way. And I don't want to sound like a douchebag or an asshole. But I do think that there's something like of meme culture already. Like memes are art.
Yeah, for sure.
They're high art. Like they're nice meme, bro. And I think like playing with virality is something that I've been really interested in developing. And it's almost like, what would Andy Kaufman do in this Instagram era, right? Like that's kind of like what I'm trying to get to eventually. But that wasn't until I had gone viral a few times and the novelty of it wore off. Like the first time I'm like, oh, cool, that was amazing. Ha, I'm so viral. It's great. But then what happens? Nothing, right? Like you don't get calls from agents, like no studios are like, let's make a movie viral, guy. So at the end of the day, it's become like a form of expression, right? And a form of comedy. But it's not, for me, it's not about going viral or getting the numbers or even getting the visibility. It's like about being able to pull off a heist in a way.
No, totally. And I could tell that's what you're doing because, as I said, you just like gamify the system. And I do think like you gamify it enough and you get enough of those things like you're doing and you start building up this, you know, like people know you. As I said, like when I see you, like I followed you, I think like last summer because I kept seeing you. And I'm like, all right, I gotta follow this guy now. I have no choice, you know what I mean? So like,
oh yeah, dude, yeah.
And now it's like if I'm in New York, I'm gonna come see your comedy show. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. I feel like it does have some purpose, but yeah, I feel like you do it in a healthy way.
Yeah, it's for me. It's like the internet is not the end all be all. Like I use it for fun. You know, I'm like a rascal. I'm like a menace to society. Somebody called me a menace to society the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to be. But yeah, it's all like in service of doing the stand-up, doing film and television, doing other things. Like it's not because I want to be big on the internet. It's because I want to do other things. And I know that visibility and like the laws of attraction is that if I'm using the internet to my advantage, to have fun with it, to express myself in short bursts, then I can still invest my time and energy into larger projects.
Yeah.
And still get the dopamine hit that I need to like keep going.
Yeah,
because the other option is to become like an actual stand-up comedian, and I would still get those dopamine hits, but I'm not enough of a like I don't have it in me to go to 5 clubs a night and do 5 spots. I just don't have it in me, and I'm better positioned as a child of the internet and someone who loves the internet to just do that stuff online, but still be able to practice stand-up whenever I want to. But it's not like I have to go to 5 rooms a night, you know?
Totally. Have you been doing comedy for a while?
I would say like I've been taking it seriously for about 4 years.
4 years, yeah. I saw your recent clip. You were talking about 7-Up. Talking about 7-Up, how in Egypt it cures like everything, right?
It literally does. Like it cures everything from depression and anxiety to cancer. And it turns out it also cures COVID because my 91-year-old grandmother got it, and she sure as hell just drank 7-Up and is alive and well.
Yeah, ginger ale was the one I grew up with. Ginger ale for everything. And so I like, even when I'm like hungover as shit, like ginger ale is like my thing, and it probably just makes things a lot worse.
You don't do orange Gatorade?
No, I'm not a Gatorade guy, honestly.
No, but for hangovers. and the what's the baby water?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It has like the electrolytes in it. What's it called? Oh my god.
Let's just call it baby water.
Sound off in the comments if you know if you know what it is.
Oh, it's called baby water, dog. It's called baby water.
Baby water. Ew. I want to explain more about the movie and then talk about what went into after. Just to explain for people who haven't seen it yet. But I just watched it. It's great. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
You got into Tribeca. That's pretty amazing. How did that go? That screening looked awesome.
Oh, it was so fun. There was like thousands of people, and it made New York City feel like a little town, which is kind of like always the goal, is to feel like you live in a place that's not New York City. So it was just amazing. It was the best night of my life, and I've said it multiple times already that it was the best night of my life. And I'm having a great year because of that news. Because in 2021 when we made the movie, I was like, Nico too. We were both like, this is for Tribeca. Like we were both like sending messages to God or whoever needs to hear on that. Like this movie needs to get into Tribeca, and so I feel like I've accomplished my goal for the year.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of weight has just like come off my shoulders, and now I'm like, if everything else fails, at least I did that thing,
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment, let alone for a shitty movie. And I don't mean shitty, I mean it's about shit. Like it's actually about shit. Like the movie's incredible, but it is about literal human feces.
Yeah, it's about a guy that has to poop on his way to a big date. And I don't know about you, but I'm not showing up to any date with poop in my stomach.
No, it's horrible. How could you?
Yeah, it's a very silly premise, but there is an emotional, backstory and undertone to the movie, which is that obviously the main character Ernie is trying to get himself back out there after his divorce, and this date means everything to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, no matter what happens that day, he's gonna get to the date. And that is like the emotional undertone. And then obviously on the surface, it's like a problem that so many people have had in New York City where it's like, you have to use a bathroom. There's no bathroom.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is something that I've dealt with very often. However, I have to say, I am not a dire shitter yet. I lived in New York for 7 years, and I have to say, there was never a time where I was so close to shitting my pants that I was like sharding like you were in the movie and all that stuff. Like, are you a dire shitter? Because this issue seems very close to your heart. Like I think you must be.
It's not. I'm not like, I don't have IBS, thank God, or anything. But there's been moments where I'm like, I can't. I have to go, and it's not a lot though. Like I mostly have to pee a lot.
Yeah, same.
And I think that is they say that that's a symptom of ADHD, which I have. But they say that like people who have ADD, they don't feel that they have to piss until it's the last minute, and then you actually have to piss so badly. So most of the time, I'm trying to take a piss. It's just always something that I thought was funny, like the lack of like how hard it is to use a bathroom in New York.
Yeah,
it's just always been like since day one. I'm like, wow, this is designed to make you poop in your pants.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I heard you may have been method acting during the filming of Out of Order. Is this true? You were, quote, filled to the brim with shit?
I was.
Damn, man, you're committed to your craft.
I mean, dude, I take my job very seriously.
Clearly.
I had a shoot with Vice once, and it was an improvised scene where I was like doing a fake focus group, and my role was to pee in my pants when I fall asleep. And I was like, I want to actually piss in my pants, guys.
Whoa.
And everyone was like, ooh, and they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, it's just gonna be better and more real. And ultimately, they didn't let me do it for insurance purposes.
Damn it, Vice.
But I wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to. That's when they became really conservative.
What, for insurance purposes, was it like, because people would be like upset about it and would sue, or was it like a physical, like you'll slip on the piss and crack your head open type thing?
No, I think it was more like diseases or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe they also just lied to me and were like trying to get me to not piss my pants.
That's so funny. And yeah, so what we were talking about earlier, which I gave a sneak peek about, was like you had this like marketing campaign behind it with old Jewish men, and it was really funny. I enjoyed from afar even watching this saga unfold. They're angry about the movie. they're mad at Nico and they're mad at you and they're showing up to the event and trying to blow it up and everything. Like, dude, so funny.
Yeah, it was brilliant. You know, it was real. It was real stuff. There was real beef.
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
There was real beef. We've broken bread and now we're all friends.
Now you're all good?
Yeah, after they saw the movie, they were like, oh, you're right. Like, they essentially thought that we infringed on their intellectual property, that this was their cause and that they could only make a movie about it. And they wanted a writer's credit. And I was like, I'm not giving up. I'm the sole writer. I'm not giving a writer's credit. And I offered an executive producer credit. They said no. And yeah, then they crashed the premiere with signs and protested and actually like stopped the movie. And we had to kick them out. But afterwards they saw it and they were like, oh, we actually really like this. And let's join forces. So we protested the other day in front of Starbucks, actually, all of us together as one.
What was it again? What was the cause against the Starbucks?
Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, has said that he is no longer going to allow the public in New York City to use Starbucks bathrooms.
Were you able to begin with without like a little code to punch in?
Well, it wasn't like a rule. He's making it like a rule.
So you just got to buy a $6 latte. Even
paying customers. Like now, he's saying that like no one. Yeah.
I'm sensing a sequel.
Revenge of the Poopers.
Yeah, right. That's one of the cool things about this whole experience, I feel like, is that you obviously know New York Nico. I'm a big fan of his and his whole community of absolute weirdos, and you've kind of cemented yourself sort of in this this mass group of just New York's finest characters. So how was working with them? Because that's got to be just so fun, right?
It was so fun. I mean, first and foremost, I think Nick is the only person who could make this movie.
Right.
You know, his characters are central. They are New York City. They embody what it means to be a New Yorker, and the diversity of them. I'm not just talking about skin color and ethnicities and religions, but the diversity of their personalities. It showcases what it means to be a New Yorker, and it's amazing. And, you know, he came to me and said, like, let's make a movie. I have this idea. He gave me the premise, and he pretty much was like, the movie's about a guy that has to poop. That's it. And I was like, okay, that will work. It needs an emotional backstory, which I added in. And then he was like, and I want to cast it with my characters. And I was very familiar with him already, but it made writing the movie so much easier because I was writing scenes based around people that already existed rather than like having to invent them in my head.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it made the movie so much more dynamic and so much more kind of eccentric because I was using people that pretty much are who they are in the movie.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think like Nico's such a good director, and I loved working with him. He makes decisions, which as an actor and as a writer, I appreciate a director who makes decisions. Like, and he's very collaborative and he gave great notes, and like it was just so fun to work with him.
I've been following him for years, you know, his journey and everything and all the stuff that he does on the internet. And then I hung out with him a couple times. Like a couple years ago, I hung out in the backyard of Panini Shop. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, we went to an MMA fight. It was just a really random thing, but I was in the backyard with like him and Jeff Garland and just like a bunch of like just insane, you know, like all the Panini Shop guys, just like a really funny crew. And he was telling me like, I kind of just thought he was this like, you know, Instagram guy, but then he's like, oh no, I've directed like 100 music videos, all these different, I'm like, holy shit. It's like, it's kind of crazy that he's actually has that range. And I'm so glad he found you because you also have that range. It's kind of like a great friendship, you know?
Yeah. He's been wanting to make a film for a long time. He's made a bunch of documentaries and they're all really good. And he's a talented dude. And I'm honored to have been the person to help make his first narrative.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And that being said, I think there's so much you can do. I just think your versatility as a content creator is insane because, you know, one hand you're pushing out farts and, you know, squeezing your cheeks and running around the city, and then you're writing a really great essay about your dad like a year ago, which is actually like one of the first things I saw of you because I followed you for the viral content, and then like I think like a month later you posted this short essay. I'm like, what? This guy's a fucking enigma. I'm like, how is he? I don't understand how you're able to so easily kind of flip that switch. I think a lot of content creators can't do that. So how are you able to sort of have those moments of just grade A goofball and then just to like very sincere and like, you know, storytell? Like, how do you do that?
I mean, it all just comes down to expression, man. Like, I used to try to bucket myself as, like I said, again, like this 1D person. I like, even when I was a kid, I would be like, you know what? I'm done being goofy. I'm done being the class clown. I'm going to be the strong and silent type. I was literally like 11 years old, but I saw that like girls were not interested in funny guys back then.
They weren't.
And like, I remember all the real cool guys were like pretty quiet and stoic, or like even mean a little bit. And so I would try to do that and it wouldn't work because I couldn't contain my sillies. And it's like been really like, at this point, I've learned so much that I'm just like, be yourself, do whatever the you want. I don't care if it's cringe. I don't care if people don't like it. I don't care if people think I'm stupid. I don't think if you care if people think anything. Like, it will find the right audience. And like, I got into stand-up and comedy in general from being a poet. So there was like a period of time where I was hiding my comedic funny bone. I was just like, if you had followed me in 2016, 17, 18, I only was publishing poetry. There was not a single video on my page.
Wow.
It was all poems. And I went on to like write this book with Brooklyn-based Pioneer Works, which is this kind of cultural center in Red Hook. And I pitched them this book called We Were Promised Flying Cars. And it was like a concept album, but it was a book about, and it was like 100 poems from future me talking to me. And like the poems ranged from depressing to funny. And I remember when I was doing readings, I would start just doing stand-up, like naturally, like improvised stand-up, because I actually didn't like reading the depressing poems. And I became addicted to like laughter. And yeah, so long story short, I guess I just do what I feel like doing, you know? And it's funny because like I know that it's hard on my audience, but then I think that's when you build like a real community and real friendships, when people are invested in what you have to say beyond what you regularly do.
Oh, totally,
right?
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like means a lot to me that story resonated with you and that you took it seriously, because it was serious, but that you can see that like, oh, he's a 3D person, he's a multi-dimensional person, like he's not just funny all the time, like he gets sad. Like, so I think for me it's just a matter of how I feel at the time and what I'm thinking about. And lately I've been feeling goofy as hell.
No, I mean, that's, as I said, like that kind of duality is like what drew me to you. And I feel like, and I don't know, this is what I've concocted in my brain about doing all this research about you. It's like, you're born in Egypt, you were raised in the Midwest, and you live in New York now. So you have this like very unique understanding of the world that a lot of people don't have. And to me, it's that understanding which makes the best art, because there are so many factors that people can interpret and pick out the little pieces of themselves, like in all the things you're talking about. And I think that's what makes you really unique, and is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because, you know, this series is all about kind of unique perspectives from unique people. And I think that the fact that you have all those little corners of your life that you're pulling from makes you a really great person to follow for that exact reason. And it could inspire people to maybe explore a different side of their own art that is, you know, a little more serious or a little more goofy. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to get out of this meeting with you.
I appreciate that, and I think it's definitely true. Like, an Egyptian in Minnesota is a weird thing.
Yeah.
And then the New York layer. Like, I was talking about my identity the other day, and it's like I identify as a New Yorker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when people ask me where I'm from, if I'm abroad, I say New York. I don't even explain the rest of it. And then when people in New York ask me where I'm from, I say I was born in Cairo but raised in the Midwest, because again, I like the juxtaposition of those two things.
Yeah.
It's even the reason that I got the job at Vice and then I went to the New York Times, because I like the juxtaposition of those two ideas.
I mean, this all makes total sense.
I mean, everything is like that in my brain. It's like
it's the ADHD, bro.
Well, yeah, it's just like so funny. Like that's like what I want to do the most is just like break formats and like do unexpected things in unexpected places. That's like what I feel drives me. And like for the longest time, it's like it's cliche, but it's like I just want people to understand my point of view.
Yeah, of course.
And my point of view is it's not even a serious point of view. I just want people to be like, oh, that's a good idea, or like, that's interesting. Why didn't I think of that? Like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing that I've been meaning to do. That sounds really hard, but actually isn't. I've just been putting it off. So like, that's how I want to be. You know, that's how I always used to say. I just want people to know that I have good ideas.
Yeah. Well, hey man, you do, and we're so excited to see what you do next. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on this episode of Bad Chats. I'm really excited to see what insane stunt comes next from you.
I am honored to be on the show, and I can't wait for MattTheBat TV show.
Thanks, man.
It deserves a TV show. Put that shit on Netflix. It's high quality, good content. We need a deal, all right?
We do.
HBO, if you're listening, we need a deal. This man has put together something brilliant, and we need a freaking deal. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's the endorsement from Kareem the Dream. All Kareem's links are going to be listed below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, followed by the little bell notification. Ding! Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us on this episode of Bat Chat. Seriously. I'm MattTheBat from MattTheBat's Batshit Shit Show. And as always, make sure to tune in next week, or else. This is where you say, or else.
Oh, or else.
Yeah! Woo! I do that at the end of every episode. I'm working on a super cut of everybody doing it, so.
Oh, that's great, man. Keep doing that. Like, I think something good will come out of it for sure.